Hey guys, how you doing? Coach Mitch here. So one of the biggest misconceptions from civilians about when it comes down to the federal investigative careers, like your FBI, your DEA, your CBP, people think that those type of careers are for men and women who are loud, tough, and aggressive in the room, right? And it's not that at all. In fact, the reality is the opposite. Whether it's ATF, DEA, FBI, it doesn't matter. They require something different. They're looking for a calm judgment. I've been doing this for 7.5 years now, coaching people in those 3 or 4 different areas of federal law enforcement. And I'm always making sure that if you come at me aggressive for the interview, we're going to tone that down because they're not looking for that at all. They want someone who is calm and level-headed, not looking for the Rambo. So your ability in the interview to stay composed, to think clearly, to communicate clearly, to have emotional maturity, and at the same time making disciplined decisions under pressure, these are the people that they're looking for. They're not looking for the guy who's all juiced up and they don't want that at all. That isn't what those agencies represent. They're not about that at all. So then people say, then what do they value, Coach Mitch? Well, they value discipline in people at the interview. They value accountability, meaning if something goes wrong, it's your fault. You will take full accountability for it. You won't try to sidestep. Now, we know in today's world, a lot of people are trying to sidestep the reality or not take responsibility. Can't have that. They want people who can show emotional maturity in the interview, right? This is the point I really hammer hard in my coaching program because I want to make sure you're ready for these questions because the questions are designed, whether it's FBI, Secret Service, it doesn't matter what it is, they're designed to see if you can indeed handle emotional control, right? Have some emotional maturity. Another one too, is a big one, is professionalism. Now, you're thinking, professionalism, that's easy. No, you guys listen. The questions they're giving you are often designed to be under pressure. They're pressurized questions. And so what happens with that, people sometimes lose their professional structure while trying to answer these questions under pressure, all right? You're thinking right now, you're at home watching this video, you think, oh, I can do that, it's easy, I can be professional. Well, remember, these interviews, they're often in person, right? And you have 2 or 3 professionals look at you, throwing out purposeful, stressful type situations to you to see how you handle it. And the question is, can you maintain your professionalism? That's a good question, right? And more often than not, I see people not being able to do that because I coach the same way. I am a coach for these types of jobs, for the interview phase. And so I purposely have very similar structures to what they have. I've had it for 7.5 years now, so I know what they're asking. I know how to coach you. I know what to expect for you. Last thing here is going to be structured thinking because a lot of people don't understand. The question is going to be a question that demands a structure from you, a structured answer, right? And what happens because you're under pressure, sometimes people, they lose track really fast. They lose track of the structure, and pretty soon you're thinking, well, what was the question? Yeah, they lose their track of the question. Now, this happens a lot because people are not practicing, they're not rehearsing, they're not going through the things they should be going through to get ready for these interviews. These interviews are very serious, and what happens a lot, about 28% of people, they go into these interviews thinking it's going to be like a civilian-based interview, and it just isn't that way at all. This is serious stuff, you guys. It's got nothing to do with a civilian-type interview. And so sometimes people too, I call it the Hollywood effect in my coaching, that they think it's going to be some kind of like Hollywood movie set, right? Answer questions, it's all slick and stuff like this. It's not that way at all, right? They think that success of the interview comes from being aggressive or to be intense or try to sound tactical. It's not it, you guys. It isn't it at all. Federal work requires sensitive situations, legal standards, teamwork, documentation, interviews, filing, interagency coordination, surveillance, operational coordination, and very high accountability. Now, of those, who do you think fits that framework better? Someone who's aggressive are someone who's calm, right? Let's talk about what the panels are going to be watching for. The panels are always watching for composure, just like me. From our first coaching session to the last, I'm always looking at you for your composure because I know they're looking the same way. So what does that mean? Well, sometimes people get nervous, they tick their leg, right? They look around, they smile, their hands tick, that's what I'm looking for. They're looking for communication. So what do I mean by that? They're looking for someone who has some understanding of the federal type communication. Not all, but they don't want 100% civilian speaking like 100% civilian in the interview. You should understand, whether you go for FBI or Secret Service or DEA, ATF, doesn't matter. You should understand some of their mission, right? Some of their model and why they do what they do, okay? Another thing too, of course, is gonna be clarity. Clarity of mission. This I teach a lot because your life story, right? Your life story, your life history must be clear to them as far as what can be borrowed from your life history, your clarity that go into their job, right? So, for instance, right, if you're going for an FBI position and say you're a teacher, right? Well, teachers observe. They definitely have to do attention to detail. And so you have to be able to draw those skill sets out in your answer to them and show them how it fits into the FBI profile. You understand? That's the hard work that we got to do. Another thing too the panels are looking for is professionalism. They always want someone who's professional, right? And that's a big deal. I laugh because people say, well, that's easy. You'd be surprised how many people don't understand what that means in the interview process, right? So they're also watching you, how you organize your thoughts. This is a big one too. By that I mean, are you avoiding rambling? I get a lot of people who ramble the first or second interview coaching because it's new. I get it, right? And because it's new, I'm asking heavy questions, hard questions, and I get that too as well, right? So what we do, we go through the first session, it's rambling for sure. Number 2 session, it gets cut back. Number 3, you're flowing, you have confidence. Most of my clients would say the same thing. By number 3, the rambling is gone. We're going right for the facts, right for the relatables to the subjects they're asking you, right? We omit a lot of the nonsense and put the facts in there instead, okay? So that's a huge deal as well, right? Now, a huge one here is emotional control. The FBI, Secret Service, ATF, CBP, BP, US Marshals, they all have questions that intentionally bring out emotional control issues because what they're looking at is how you handle conflict, pressure, uncertainty, teamwork, public interaction. These are all things they're looking for in you. Again, you see the whole theme here is being calm, right? A Rambo type isn't going to have those kind of behaviors. He's going to be overly aggressive, talk heavy tactics, and speak that way. They don't want that. They want someone who's going to have restraint, maturity, measured judgment, mission first thinking, no ego, not panicking, and no emotional reactions. The calmness, understand? Now, this is your deal. You guys have to understand, you need to walk in these interviews as a quiet professional because some of the loudest people around you for the interviews are not the best candidates at all. These are the ones who do what I say, the YouTube effect. What I mean by that is that I see a lot of professionals in uniform who act before they think. They're on blast on YouTube, they're going viral on YouTube because they're acting before they're thinking. You, though, in the interview process, have to show you are AT. What's an AT? An analytical thinker. It means you're thinking before you're reacting, you're communicating clearly, you're maintaining composure, and you're staying disciplined under pressure. I teach all that because it's imperative because you are under the heavy pressure when you're in these interviews with these people, right? They might be smiling at you, maybe a little like this, maybe, right? And they're looking at you intently, and you feel warm and comfortable, but believe me, they are grading you from the minute you walk into that room to the minute you leave. Every word you say is being graded. They're watching all that, guys. So listen, if you're considering about a career in federal investigations, I want you to understand this. Calm judgment is not a weakness. Professional restraint is not a weakness. In many of these federal environments, these qualities become major strengths. They're not weaknesses. So if you're going for the interview, you need to keep on working on your communication, your discipline, your composure, and your readiness. These are the things I teach you in my coaching program as well for FBI, Secret Service, UD, or SA, doesn't matter, Marshal Service, ATFE. I teach all that, CBP, BP, because these agencies do not want the loudmouth. They don't want that at all. So you guys, if you want help with this interview process for any of those federal agencies, link down below in my description. Get into my calendar and I'll show you how it's done. Take care, you guys. Coach Mitch. Bye-bye.